Welcome back to my knitting channel where I come on once a year to talk about what I've been working on. Yes, for those of you who may just be finding me or need a reminder of who I am, my name is Melinda and I am a knitter and other crafter maker, and I haven't been on YouTube in a very long time. I have a wonderful family, and so that's pretty much been the focus of life the past year and a half or so since I was last on here. So I guess I want to come back. I'm very excited about a lot of things. I've been knitting like a madwoman. I've also been working on some designs, and I do have a pattern release today, so keep your eyes out for that. I will have an introductory discount code for you all and everything. I have other pattern releases, one more pattern release coming up soon, and then also, and that is a design that I've revived from a long while ago. And then I also have some tester calls and things that are ready to be shared with you. However, I am a little hesitant about the timelines because, wow, we're just gonna lay it all out right away. I'm expecting our fourth little baby any day now. I'm currently 39 and a half weeks pregnant. So yes, I'm gonna hold off on doing tester calls or anything until after baby is here so that I make sure that I am present and everything to the testers. So enough on that. We're not gonna ramble on so much at the beginning. But yes, I'm going to do my best to kind of stick to a standard format here, sharing, well, not all finished objects since last time, of course, but many objects that I finished recently, and other things that I've been actively working on right now. So if you could just bear with me as we get back into it. I'm really excited to be back, so hopefully we can just, I don't know, get rolling. I'm gonna try to not apologize every 10 seconds for stumbling over my words as I try to remember how to talk to a camera by myself again. Okay, so I guess kick it off with what I'm wearing. This is something that I have designed. The pattern is just about finished, but as I mentioned, not gonna do a tester call just yet, but I'm pretty excited about this one. So the design is a drop shoulder. The whole essence of it is that the main body has the stripe pattern where the dominant color is the gray with the black stripes, and then obviously inversed for the sleeves. They do have slight sleeve shaping, but keeping the big boxy fit that I do enjoy. You can see the short rows in the back are designed so that the striping sequence does kind of look nice and meet well. That's not really good English, but yes. So I really like the way that that turned out. One thing, I might make the collar a little bit longer. It is a folded collar, 1x1 rib all over. This was knit in Juniper Moon Farm Patagonia, which is one of my personal favorite yarns, Patagonia Organic Merino. It's 100% merino wool, non-superwash, and it is quite lovely to wear. So yes, this is something that will be coming soon, coming for a tester call soon. It is also actually version 2 of this sweater design. Version 1 I knit this fall in fingering weight yarn. This was actually this was knit in Knit Picks palette. I don't have all the colorways for any of these on hand. That's okay, we'll figure it out next time. But I knit this one up in Knit Picks palette. However, when I was washing and blocking it, I intended to do the method where you put it in the washing machine and just put it on the spin cycle to get a bunch of the extra water out. However, I put it in the dryer and I slightly felted it. It was just on the air setting, but I guess it was warm enough or enough friction, whatever it was, to slightly felt it. So unfortunately, this one is not really wearable for me. The sleeves are like too short, and not in a way where it like looks intentional. The sweater just looks too small. So I kind of need to figure out what to do. I do have more yarn where I could go back and lengthen everything. However, I don't know how I would manage that and like only felt the certain portions so that it matches the rest of the garment. So I may just kind of sit on this until I have a child who's big enough to wear it, which many years down the road, but I don't know. We'll keep it around for now and just see what happens. So there's a couple finished objects. What I'm wearing, something else I recently finished that sadly is not a wearable garment. So there's that. Okay, other finished objects. This kind of gets into the pattern series that I am starting to work on, and I am so excited about. I've become addicted with this one particular stitch pattern that I figured out, and I put it on everything. So I guess I'll make the announcement for the pattern release that will be happening today, and that is the Karol hot water bottle cover. So this is the stitch pattern that I've become obsessed with, and it's just a chevron pattern that is created using knits and purls in a specific repeat. So you can see, I don't know, what can you see? I don't know where I was going with that, but yes, basically this is a hot water bottle cover. I don't know what else to say about it. I can tell you about the construction. Okay, and the yarn, yes, we'll get into it. So Knit Picks Wool of the Andes worsted. That is I think it's a Peruvian wool, 100% wool, non-superwash yarn. I have made a couple garments in this as well, and I think it's really lovely. This was actually yarn that was left over from my ginger zip, which was a pattern I tested for Knitwear by Joan last year, the year before, at some point in time. But yes, so this took less than 100 grams. I feel like I think it ended up being like 80 or 90 grams. All the details and everything, of course, are in the pattern. But yes, and so the construction is cast on at the bottom using Judy's Magic Cast On, and then you establish the stitch pattern as you're working increases. Then you knit just in the round the whole way up. There are, let's see if you can see that, just knit stitches on the side, so I think it looks really clean going around. Excuse me. And then you work decreases at the top to shape the shoulders of the, pardon me, hot water bottle, and then the neck cuff is just knit in 1x1 rib and folded over for the little hot water bottle turtleneck. So yes, this will be a pattern that's available on Ravelry once you see this video, and I'll actually pop a discount code in the description box below for the release, and set a time frame for that, probably through the weekend. And yes, so if you need a last minute gift, this actually knit up for me. I knit over the course of 2 days with not like super intense knitting time, but it's less than 100 grams of worsted weight. So think about if you knit a hat or something like that, doesn't take too long. So could be definitely a weekend project that you do wrap up in time to gift someone something last minute for Christmas or something like that. So Anyway, yes, the Karol hot water bottle cover, which is the first release in this series of patterns, which I will show you the extent of that in just a moment. But yes, that is, I guess I have one more officially finished object that I'm going to be talking about today, but here we are. So thank you in advance if any of you do purchase this pattern as I make my way back into designing, where I only have a couple published patterns out, but something that I definitely want to pursue more going forward. So there we are. There is water in there, but I'm really warm, so I'm not actually using it at the moment. Okay, let's go into the next item from this series, which is on the floor. Oh, I guess it's not completely finished. So the stitch pattern, this was actually, was it? Yes. This was the first thing that I actually made using that stitch pattern. It's a pullover, of course, drop shoulder. So this one with that same stitch pattern with the chevrons. Hold it still so you can actually see it a little bit. This sweater I knit in woolstock worsted, which was the first time that I used this yarn, and I really, really enjoyed it. I would love to make more garments using this yarn in the future. But I, oh boy, excuse me. Yes, wanted to make this one into a design. So this was version 1 of the sweater pattern. This one I knit bottom up because initially I thought it would be nice to kind of establish and learn the stitch pattern before getting into any kind of shaping. So of course, with a bottom up garment, you're working the whole body, kind of getting used to the rhythm of everything before you were to jump into any kind of shaping. However, I know that my preference, like my personal preference, is top-down sweaters, and there are many people who will just write off a pattern entirely if it is constructed bottom up. So I wanted to rework it top down, so I have another version here as well. But yes, the same chevron stitch pattern, and then the sleeves actually just have it the single, there aren't like multiple zigzags, it's just going all the way down. There is some sleeve shaping and everything, decreases. And then since I went for round 2, the plan was to sew this down as a folded collar, but I didn't make it to that step. I have actually still worn this and it worked out just fine. But yes, I'll pull up iteration 2, which is a current whip. And this one is knit top down, similar color, but this one is more of a grayish and this one is a gray, so you can see the difference there. This one is, oh gosh, I want to say Knit Picks Eco Wool, but that's not exactly what it is, and I can't remember. Eco wool or natural wool. It's very similar to the wool of the Andes, but these are all, I believe, undyed versions. And so I do have the body and, the neckline, the main yoke, and the sleeves are done, and I just need to finish up the body and the hem for this one, and then block it, of course. You can see how different the stitch pattern, how nicely it lays after blocking. It does grow lengthwise a little bit. So yes, the sleeves might look a little stumpy now, but they do grow and flatten out, and it just, I don't know what it is about this, but I can't get it over the stitch pattern. So yes, this one I plan to do just a single collar rather than the folded neckline. I don't know why, but that is what I was feeling when I knit this one up. So yes, basically two of the same pattern, except I flipped it so that this is worked top down, which I think generally people do prefer. Not really much else to talk about on this, but I'll just continue on with my 1 million chevron garments. Tangling up some yarn. And the next one in the series is what I hope to be my Christmas sweater, which I do just have to finish the final sleeve and sew on some buttons, but here we are, the cardigan version. So this one is constructed top down again, just like the version 2 of the pullover. I did update a little bit the the like shaping of the back panel so that we do have, this single stitch that goes along, and I think it just cleans up the shoulder a little bit. I'll show the difference. So this kind of just like gets hidden, or I don't know, there's not like a clear shoulder line where the pickup is, and then so that is, sorry, anyone who's experienced it, I shouldn't talk about this right now. I need some Tums, we'll put it that way. So it does have this extra stitch to kind of outline, and I think it does make the transition between the different directions of the chevrons just a little bit cleaner. So there is that break instead of kind of muddling into each other and not having a very clean lines. So yes, this one is knit in Cascade 220. So basically just any standard worsted weight yarn has worked for the stitch pattern, these different garments and things. So I have done a double knit button band. This one is also not blocked yet. I may have blocked the body actually, now that I'm looking at it. I think I did block the body before I did the button band, just to make sure that was nice and clean. I have not sewn on buttons yet, of course, but we do have buttonholes here. I guess one note is, it is a V-neck cardigan. I don't know if I can do this, show you any better. Yes, so there we go, that's pretty good. So it is a V-neck cardigan where the sweater is a round neck. I am working up the pattern and trying to determine if I'm going to do like the 4 different versions where it is V-neck and round neck for both cardigan and sweater. But haven't decided that for sure yet. So there's at least going to be the round neck sweater and the V-neck cardigan. We'll see if I'll do the reverse with the V-neck sweater and the round neck cardigan or not, which I likely won't knit up additional samples for those, but it won't be too tough to have the pattern worked up for each of those since I'm already doing the math and everything. And I guess a note on that is, so let's see if I can just show the back panel. So the design here has like 4 peaks, we'll put it that way, on both the front and then the back. And the intention and the way that I've been working it up is for that to be translated across all the sizes. So rather than adding additional peaks, there will just be a different number of stitches in each repeat for the different sizes. So whether you're knitting a size extra small or a 3XL, whatever, throughout the whole range, there will be like the 4 chevron peaks on all of the garments, and then the sleeves are the same where it's just the single direction for the chevrons. Yes. Anything else to note? I don't believe so, but I've been having the best time knitting up all of these and I have yet to tire of the stitch pattern. So we shall keep that rolling and see where we go next, which I have 2 more items to share within this little series. One of them is nearly finished. I feel like I could take an hour and finish it. There will be children's versions. I just can't get enough. Okay, so this is one that I knit for my one of my children, and I have to finish the collar, have the yarn tucked inside here. This one is the same as my first version in the wool stock worsted, in whatever colorway that was. So it's so cute. I need to finish it. Okay, so yes, same idea. This was when I initially written it up as a bottom-up garment, so I'll need to do another sample for the children's size just to make sure everything works out for the top down as it did with the adult size garment as well. But oh my gosh, how stinking cute. I just love it so much. So yes, here's a tiny version. And I do plan to make the cardigan as well. But yes, so we'll get there when we get there. Okay, then the last chevron pattern that I have, at least as of now, is socks. So this is half finished. Oh no, we're a little tangled. Oops. Oh, bugger. Okay, so sock 1 is done, half finished object. This pattern is actually all written up, graded for a handful of sizes. I think I did 4 different sizes, just adult for the sock pattern, which, now that I say it, do I need to make children's sizes too? We'll see. But I used a 75-25 sock yarn, superwash merino nylon that I actually did have in stash. It is an autumn and indigo fiber, but it's, excuse me, which they aren't dyeing anymore. Pardon me again, I'm so sorry. But it is like the standard indie dyed 75-25 in this really lovely green colorway, of course. And so I guess this is knit top down, and then we have that same stitch pattern going all around the leg, heel flapping gusset, and then the stitch pattern is just continued on the top of the foot down to the standard, or pretty standard, wedge toe. And I just need to finish knitting sock number 2, and then this will be ready for a tester call. I suppose I could call for testers before I finish sock 2 because I have everything done. If you have any thoughts about that, would you test a pair of socks before both are done by the designer? Because it's not really necessary. I don't know. Let me know if you have any thoughts on that. But basically, yes, I just need to finish knitting sock number 2. I'm not the biggest sock knitter, so I do have to like be a little more intentional because garment knitting is what I get more excited about. But I just thought this would be such a fun sock where it's textured and fun, but simple enough where like using the solid color would be really wonderful. And it is boot season, so I should finish these so that I get to wear them. Anyway, okay. There we go. That wraps up the Karol pattern series Extravaganza, and that's Karol. if you're looking anything up. So yes, I have just about everything written, mostly graded, and just need to decide on the sweater patterns if I'm going to write it up for both round and crew for each of those. And then I do need to still grade the children's sizes, but it is nice because construction and everything is pretty much the same. Yes. Woohoo! I don't know. Okay, so there's that. Hopefully someone else is as excited about this so you can have fun knitting all these as well. Okay, let's see. I do have other things that I'm working on. So I'm actually doing 2 test knits right now. I have only really been working on one of them thus far. I did cast one on and then I realized I made an error and I just was not interested in starting over. So here's my first test knit though that I have been working on, and this is for Rebecca Clow from the Crayabea Knitting Podcast and Designs, and it is her Kintra sweater. Oh, it's so fun. So this pattern is a 1x1 color work all across the yoke, and then the rest is just knit in stockinette in a single colorway. So I'll hold this up a little closer. And I am knitting this up in, the main color is, oh, I feel like I actually might have the yarn label. I do. Cascade BFL. This is the first time that I've used the Cascade BFL. And it is really, really nice. I want to make a whole garment in it. So that's on the wish list plans. I need to get the yarn, but it's 100% blue face Leicester wool, and it is a DK weight, which is what this pattern calls for. And the reason that I chose this is because I am using, or for the color work, I used the Woolly Mammoth Fiber Co. Advent from a couple years ago, and it was a 12-day Advent, but I actually ended up only using, sorry, I was looking to see if I had other colors in here. I ended up only using 6 of the colors because the way that I had initially laid them out, sorry, I'm circling around in my head. So the way that I initially laid out my colors was in a certain way where I basically started with all these darker ones in the beginning, and then it gets into the more or lighter colors, and I kind of liked the moody dark vibes that this was giving, so I didn't want to jump in because there's like yellow and a light blue and a couple pinks, and I just thought that would kind of send this in a different direction, and I really liked the way that the deeper colors were looking, so I just made it work using these. So I guess the essence of this design is that you can use anywhere from like 3 or 4 up to 24 colors in the yoke, and so it's designed to be able to use like a mini skein advent where you'd be able to go through the entire advent with the 1x1 color work and include all of those. Or Rebecca has also knit up samples with just like a handful of colors, and so this one technically has 7 colors because I used 6, well 8 actually, that's another note. So used goodness gracious, so the one main color, and then I used actually 7 colors in the yoke. So I used the 6 like moody colors from the Woolly Mammoth Fiber Co. Advent. However, since I cut out half of my colorways when I got to the bottom of the yoke, I was running out, and so then I had to pull, I think I ended up using some just whole super soft held double. Wow, I'm forgetting so many details. It's a DK weight pattern, and so the mini skeins that I had were fingering weight, so I held those double throughout. And if I would have used all 12, would have been no issue, had plenty of yarn for the entire yoke. However, since I did cut it down to 6, I was so close to finishing, but this last color at the bottom that goes in back into the main color of the body is actually some Holst that kind of fit with the darker moody vibe. And I don't think you can tell that I just threw a random color in there at the end. So happy enough with that. Pardon me. But yes, currently have it on hold for just some straight stockinette knitting. I'm also using the needles for this on a different project at the moment. That is a gift knit with a deadline. That's what I was looking for. So this one is on hold. The test knit isn't due till January or February, so plenty of time to wrap this one up, but I think it is super fun and I think it would make a great sweater for the holiday season. So hopefully I can get that finished up in time to wear. I also will not have as large of a belly in hopefully less than a week's time, so I didn't really want to knit the body of this sweater before I had that, so I could have a proper try on, since I am so close to not being this circumference that I currently am. So yes, there we go. The Kintra sweater. I'm knitting the DK weight version, currently in testing, patterned by the Karol. Okay. A couple more whips that I'm going to talk about, and then we will call it for today. Oh, here. This is one of the other colors that I did not decide to use. So you can tell that, sorry, this is one of the other colors from the Woolly Mammoth Advent that I had from a couple years back, where like that would have just thrown it in a different direction. Not that it wouldn't have been lovely, of course, but the darker moody I really liked. Let me talk about this one first, and then I'll jump into my current, or another in progress design. Okay, this one is a gift knit, but I am not gifting it. I am making it for my sister to gift to her sister-in-law. And this is the Weekender Crew by Andrea Mowry. Ugh. And I have knit the whole body as well as the collar, and then working on the sleeves at the moment. I am knitting this in Knit Picks Swish DK in the Cobblestone Heather colorway, which I don't think I've ever actually used this yarn. I'm a big fan of Knit Picks, but I tend to use non-superwash, but wanted to make this easy and washable and everything for the recipient. So using that, I don't know, I'm trying to think if I've actually finished. I don't think I've ever actually finished an Andrea Mowry pattern. A few years back, I did start it's the half fisherman rib cardigan that has the like micro stripes. I can't think of what it's called, but it was the like collaboration Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving, make along. Goodness, that doesn't matter anymore. But basically, I have that. I need to finish the sleeves on that, but I haven't done that. And I've started the framed but that one is on ice at the moment. Anyway, have I actually finished an Andrea Mowry pattern? I don't think that I have. Anyway, this has been really nice. It is interesting because it is a bottom-up construction, and this is where the part of the Weekender series, but this is the one that has the crew rather than like the boat neck, which I am a fan of. And I guess major design element for the Weekender series is that the body is reverse stockinette with this slip stitch detail down the front and the back. And then one of Andrea's like favorite design elements where it's the ribbing on the shoulders with the exposed seam along each shoulder. This has been really fun to work. I think one thing that I have noticed that isn't 100% perfect is, of course, you're not really going to be able to see. And I don't think someone who isn't a knitter would notice, but you do the German, well, they actually call for wrap and turns in the pattern, but I did German short rows, and you can just kind of see them on the shoulders, which I don't love, and it's not that big of a deal. And I think it will block out just fine and not be a big deal, but something that I wish was a little less noticeable. But hopefully the gift recipient will not notice. So yes, this I'm hoping to finish in just the next couple days, which I don't expect to be a problem because I'm like coming up on halfway through sleeve 1. Since it is like a pretty wide drop shoulder design, there's not a whole lot of sleeve to knit. And then it does have 2 pockets that I will knit and sew on the front, and then just blocking, weaving, and ends, which I am a lazy end weaver inner for my own garments. Like, there's some in here that are woven in, but I actually didn't trim them. However, for a gift knit, I feel like I should make it as clean as possible to make sure that they don't unravel or anything like that. So that's that for this whip. I don't know what else to say. We will figure it out as we go, won't we? All right, then the final whip that I will be chatting about. Sorry, I had something pop up. Hopefully we're good. Okay, the final whip that I will be chatting about is another in progress design. So the theory behind this one is I really enjoy drop shoulder garments, but I, like most people, prefer knitting over purling. So I was trying to decide, is there a way that I can knit a drop shoulder sweater? Sorry, I'm looking around to see if I have any try on tubing because it's kind of going to be hard to see. It's a little scrunched on my needles, but basically I want to knit a drop shoulder without as much purling in the yoke section. So enter my newest design in progress. So this one is it's going to start out in garter like this. It's going to be hard to see. It's also in a deep chocolate brown color, but that's kind of part of the design as well, where okay, we'll get into it in a second. Okay, so this is in like a deeper chocolate color. This is a new yarn to me called Cascade Yarns Revive, 100% recycled wool. This one is worsted weight, and I am knitting it on 5mm US 8 needles. So basically the concept is that the yoke will be knit in garter stitch, and then the body and the sleeves will be in stockinette. But the way that I constructed it, there's going to be this like pipe knit detail that goes down the center and will continue into the body where there is stockinette. So it still is cohesive, in my opinion. Hi, Zeus. I have a dog. I don't know if you've ever seen him. Hello, mister. Big old Bernedoodle. Welcome to the podcast. Okay. But yes, so this detail will continue down there. So this will continue down into the body so that you can, there's not like a weird just like cut off between the yoke and the rest of the body where we switch from garter to stockinette. And then it is also similar detail along the shoulder where then you pick up for the front of the garment, and it also lines what will be the edge of the collar, and then the front, which I am just a few inches in, has that slip stitch or stockinette slip stitch, too many words, detail going down the front, so it will be the similar idea. Yes, and then the sleeves will be knit in stockinette, and it has that similar style just to bring it all together on like where the sleeve pickup will be. So yes, just preferences on minimal purling for a drop shoulder. I think it'll be fun to apply this with different yarns. So, okay, the dark color is part of it, where it's like, it's gonna be easier to just knit garter stitch in a dark yarn than it would be to do otherwise, which I don't know if that's the same for everybody, but I find garter easier than stockinette flat. And then I also have a vision of knitting this same garment up. I feel like it would be really awesome for like boucle. I think it would be great for like Surrey or mohair held double. So I do intend to do probably the Surrey version Surrey held double, another version of this, or another sample of this with the Surrey yarn, and see how that goes, which I think will be fun. But of course, gonna finish this iteration to start. Yes, and I think boucle would be really great. However, I just haven't really found the right like boucle or textured yarn for it. So if you have any suggestions, this is, I can't remember the exact gauge. I think it's either 16 or 17 stitches. So if anyone knows of like a good boucle yarn that I could use, pardon me, I'm so sorry. Oh, that's not pleasant. I looked at the Knit Picks boucle, but that is, I think they label it as like a sport weight, which could still work just because of the nature of boucle. However, I'm not sure if it really would. I feel like this would work really well for, oh, she's got a lot going on over here. This would work quite well for like indie dyed DK boucle, but number one, that's all pretty much superwash merino, which I'm not huge on superwash garments, but I don't know what boucle would be like because I've never actually used that yarn. So if you think that would work and you know of someone who has it not on a 3-month pre-order, let me know. Yes, so pretty excited about this. It's been a lot of fun, but I have had to put it pause just a bit so that I can, as you can see, I have a lot going on my needles. Oh geez, pardon me. Yes, so lots to do, lots that I'm super excited about, a lot to come, but kind of in a weird pause point so that I can make sure we welcome new baby here into not a crazy thing where I'm like in labor and having to respond to tester DMs. Just not that anyone, okay. Never mind. Don't worry about that. Obviously not. Okay. Yes. Acquisitions. Obviously I've acquired yarn since last time, but nothing I'm gonna sit here and chat about at the moment. Yes. All right. Well, whew. We made it through, and I'll just throw in a note that I am not going to spend too much time editing this, so it's just kind of go up as is, and we'll deal with that. I don't know what else I say or what I used to say or anything, so we'll just consider this a fresh start. I hope everyone is having a wonderful December. I will definitely won't see you until after the holidays, so Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays to all. And we're gonna end it here so that I quit rambling. But thank you for sticking with me if you made it this far through a potentially slightly painful re-entry into the podcasting world. But yes, I guess a reminder, Karol hot water bottle cover is live on Ravelry, and the discount code, I'll note it below for anyone who's interested in purchasing. Yes. All right, we'll call it there. Bye.